Okay, so continuing our lesson from today, we're going to now start multiplying and dividing rational expressions. And this really isn't so bad. It's basically taking the same keys and same ideas that we use, and we're just doing a little bit more. So we're going to factor everything we can. And the first thing I'm looking at is the, x squared minus 3x. I'm looking at a greatest common factor of x. So what comes out of here will be our x. What's left over after I quote unquote undistribute the x, factor that out, will be x minus 3. Over top, this does not factor. X minus 2 is simplified, so we write that. And then we have times. Now I need to think of factors of negative 6 that add up to positive 1. And so those are going to be plus 3 and minus 2, because a 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. A 3 plus negative 2 is positive 1. And then we have an x left over on the bottom. And so now we need to reduce. And I'm looking for things that are the same on the top and the bottom. And I don't care which fraction they're in. They're going to be in the first, they can be in the second. But they need to be the absolute same on the top and the bottom. So I see an x minus 2 in the top and bottom. I cross that out. I also see an x on top, an x on the bottom. I'm going to cross that out. And so all I'm left with here is going to be the x minus 3 times the x plus 3. That's in the top. And I'm not going to write a denominator of over 1. I'm just going to keep it like this. For the next one, again, factor everything that you can. So x squared plus 3x minus 4. That's going to factor into x. Factors of negative 4 that add up to positive 3 will be plus 4 and minus 1. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. 4 minus 1 is positive 3. Over top, x squared plus 4x plus 4. Factors of 4 that add to 4 is going to be a positive 2 and a positive 2 times. Here I'm looking for a greatest common factor. The greatest common factor is 2x. In parentheses will be x plus 2 after I, again, undistribute my 2x. For the x squared minus 4x plus 3, we're going to have x minus 3 and x minus 1. Because negative 3 times negative 1 is positive 3. Negative 1 plus, or negative 3 plus negative 1 is negative 4. Now it's time to look. What's the same that's on the top as on bottom? I see an x plus 2 and an x plus 2. I can't cross out both x plus 2's. Only one is going to cross out. I see an x minus 1 and an x minus 1. And so when I write my answer, we're going to have an x plus 4 and a 2x left on top. The 2x gets written first, then the x plus 4. Over top, x plus 2 and x minus 3 on the bottom. The last one that we have, x squared minus 3x minus 10. So what multiplies the negative 10 adds up to negative 3. That's going to be negative 5 and positive 2. X squared minus 2x minus 15. It's going to be an x and an x. And then this is going to be negative 5 and positive 3. Now we have times. This is in the top. So up here I'll write the factorization of x squared plus 10x plus 21. That's going to be x plus 3, x plus 7. And then if you want to, you can put this over top 1. You don't have to, though. Okay, so again, you're looking for things that are the same on the top and the bottom. I see x minus 5s, and I see x plus 3s. And so what will be left over with is x plus 2 times x plus 7. And then it's going to be over 1, but I don't have to write the over 1. And you're done there. Now let's divide. So we have x squared plus x minus 6 over x squared plus x divided by x plus 3 over x. And if you recall, dividing by a fraction is the same thing as multiplying by its reciprocal. So you're going to leave this fraction, x squared plus x minus 6 over x squared plus x. That stays the same. This changes to multiply. And then this, you do the reciprocal, x over x plus 3. So we've changed it into a multiply problem, and now it's just like everything we did on this page here. Factor everything you can. X squared plus x minus 6 factors into x plus 3 times x minus 2. X squared plus x has a greatest common factor of x. X plus 1 will be left over when you undistribute. This does not factor, and nor does that down here. Now we cross out what's the same on top and bottom. We have an x plus 3 and an x plus 3, and then this x and this x. And so you're left with x minus 2 over x plus 1. Okay, down here, remember, if it's a division problem, you need to change it to multiply. So keep this the same. X squared minus 6x minus 27 over 2x squared plus 2x. Change the division to multiply, and then make this the reciprocal. X squared on top, and x squared minus 14x plus 45 on the bottom. Factor everything you can. So from here, we need to think of factors of negative 27 that add up to negative 6. That'll be negative 9 and positive 3. Down here, I see immediately that each has a common factor of 2, and each has a common factor of x. So in the denominator, 2x is the greatest common factor. When you undistribute that, you'll have x plus 1 times x squared does not factor over the x squared minus 14x. Oops, excuse me. Let me erase that. We'll factor into x. Factors of 45 that add up to negative 15. Negative 14, excuse me. We're going to have a 9 and a 5, and both of those are going to be negative. Negative 9 times negative 5 is positive 45. Negative 9 minus 15 is negative 14. Now we're going to cross out what's the same. Definitely x minus 9, x minus 9. And now what I see, I don't see any other binomials that are the same, but what I see is an x and an x squared. So remember, what we're going to do here is we're going to subtract those exponents. Okay? And there's going to be x to the first power left over, and it's going to be on the top because there's more x's on the top than on the bottom. So there'll be x on the top. You still have x plus 3 on the bottom over. You still got your 2. Don't have the x anymore. Remember, this x and this x squared reduced, but you still have your x plus 1, and you still have your x minus 5. And then you're done. Last one, we're going to rewrite. Remember, you're going to multiply by this reciprocal. So the first one stays the same, x squared plus 12x plus 32 over top 6x plus 42. Change division to multiply. And then this comes to the top, x squared minus 49. This goes to the bottom, x squared plus 4x. Factor everything that you can. So the top of the first, Quadratic trinomial becomes a product of two binomials. We're going to have x plus 8, x plus 4, because 8 times 4 is 32, and 8 plus 4 is 12. In the bottom, I see a greatest common factor of 6. You're going to have x plus 7 left over times. In the top, x squared minus 49 is a difference of squares. So we'll have x plus 7, x minus 7, and then x squared plus 4x. There's a greatest common factor of x, and then we have x plus 4 left over. Time to reduce. I see an x plus 4 in the top, x plus 4 in the bottom, x plus 7 in the bottom, x plus 7 in the top. And so what we're left over with, x plus 8 and x minus 7. All over, and then we have 6x in the bottom left over. And you're done.